Hello, my name is Clara, and I am the co founder of List Perfectly. Today, I'm very excited because I'm going to be joined by a very special community member, and we're going to be talking about Pam Arnold with her incredible follow up of a session that we did on the past. And I'm excited to introduce you, Pam. And today, we're going to be from organized to optimize how Pam built a reselling business with purpose. Let's welcome Pam Arnold. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Clara.
Oh,
I'm
so
happy
nice.
to be here today.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much, Pam. Would
Thank
you
you.
be so kind to introduce yourself to our beautiful audience?
Sure. My name is Pam Arnold. My business is Restated Threads, and I started this business after spending 20 wonderful years as a middle school teacher. I taught fifth grade for 20 years, and I loved it, and it was a passion. But it was starting to wear on me, and I was looking for something different.
Uh,
And I had some friends who were Etsy sellers,
oh,
and they were talking to me about what they did, and I was like, let's give it a shot. And so I explained it a lot in the last video, but we went to my husband and I love going to estate sales. That's been
oh,
for a long time.
I love steak
I
sales,
love
Pam.
history. I love digging through people's treasure and
I,
old papers and things. But that's
uh,
not what I sell. I sell clothing,
uh-huh.
because I came across a bunch of large size prom formal dresses, and I thought this would be a good time. They had a bunch of them left at the end of the sale, and they sold them to me for $10 a piece,
Wow.
and I flipped them all. I flipped them all. It was it and and it's very addicting.
Yes.
Once you it, there's so much uh, uh, oh, I can't think of the word right now, but there's a lot of adrenaline that goes
Adrenaline,
on.
don't you think it's like a
Endorphins,
rush of
endorphins.
adrenaline, right?
Yes, it's the endorphins that
See, yes,
yes,
exactly.
you're like,
It makes
"Whoa, I
you want
paid
more.
$10 for this, and someone is paying me 100, $110." And you go, "Well, let's see what else I can do that with." And so, since that, I've grown to I currently have over 6,000 items listed. I probably have, probably 3 or 4 more thousand items that I could list.
Your money pile. Huh.
Yes, my money pile, it just continues to grow, but I'm also, I've grown along with it. Um, I feel I've gone from a very humble, small beginning and figuring things out, to
Right.
talking to people and learning from others and gathering mentors along the way.
Right.
It's just been it's a wonderful journey, and I'm continuing to grow, and I'm very excited about, what's coming next.
Oh, that's amazing because I just want to mention to everybody a year ago, almost a year ago, our audience can see that we did a first session with Pam.
Mhm.
And this was a live session in which we named it Building a Business by by being community. All right. So, incredible session building a business, building a community with Pam Arnold. This was a great session. So I just want to mention that if you are interested, what was her session in 1 year ago? This is a follow up, and now we're going to see how Pam optimize and organize her business. And I congratulations because it's not easy, guys, to have 6,000 active listings. So, with much further ado, Pam, all right. So, you know, let's dig deeper. Okay,
Okay.
so let's go with business growth. Okay, structure. Um, what, let's say, you mentioned in July that you were reworking your inventory system. How did that turn out? How did you do it with 6,000 items, Pam?
Well, it was a process. It was a process, but one of the things that I was having difficulty with
Mm.
was, with lost items, and I think every reseller has done that, where you have an item and you can't find it.
Disappear.
Yeah, You're like, I know I saw that 3 days ago, and you go to that spot and it's not there.
Right.
So I took a long, hard look at my, well, mostly my eBay numbers, because eBay is my biggest platform.
Right.
So I was looking at eBay and I was having issues with lost items. And so when you have to cancel sales, you really have to look at your numbers and look at your account health,
Right.
just to make sure, because if you really want to grow your business, you have to have that business mindset. So that's where I am 4 years into this journey, where what started out as something that was fun. Um, in order to really continue to make it a business, you have to look at those numbers and dig deep into your numbers and my
It's
metrics.
scary. It's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah. And looking at my eBay numbers, I was really having a hard time with canceled sales, because I just, it was happening more often than it should. It didn't happen all the time, but more
Right.
often than it should. So at the time, I probably had 3,000 to 4,000 listings.
Right.
And so I sat down with Trish. Trish and I had on Trish Glenn on Listing Party. So in our
Right.
mastermind group, we'd had lots of discussions on how to
Right.
optimize. And she showed us her inventory and how she had that organized. And that was,
Yeah.
so then there were several other people in the group that shared their, how they had their systems working. So I figured out what works best for me. So I stopped and looked at, I have a bin system and each bin is numbered, but I wasn't individualizing my numbers. So what I did is I went back and I individualized each item in the bin.
All right.
So it was more professional. It was easier to find. And so then I pulled the numbers and I reused those numbers, because I was also running out of space and I couldn't just keep growing. I had to go back and backfill. So it was a process, but right now I can't tell you the last time I lost an item.
What?
It really works for me. It really worked for me. Just digging in and doing it. So that's what I did last summer. Is I spent the summer redoing my inventory, and it's been very successful for me.
What would you say, Pam, was the biggest lesson you learned throughout this journey when you started to restructure your inventory system?
I think it was, probably, that I don't know how much confidence I had in myself and the system that I had. And this is really, having this organized has given me a lot more confidence in myself, in my business, in negotiating with customers,
That is so,
because I
yeah.
feel like it sounds funny, but I feel like I have a better relationship with my inventory. It's stuff. If somebody walked in here, and it's not all here at this house, this is my office, but
Yep.
We've grown to where I have it at a different location.
Oh,
But
nice.
when
Congrats, Pam. That's huge, Pam. To not have storage in your house, that's huge.
Well, I outgrew my house, and so my husband and I were able to go and invest in a rental property. So
Okay.
we rent out part of the property, and then I can run my business in the
Smart.
other part of the property. So that's what we're doing. And so having a renter helps pay for the
Yep.
expenses of the property. So we were lucky that we could do that.
Then at the same time, you have a property that eventually not only is rendering, that income from the rent, right? But it's helping you to pay down or maybe pay off that property, and it's an
Absolutely.
investment property.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Very
Absolutely. And I live in Florida, so it kind of fluctuates here anyway.
smart.
So it was nice to be able to do, but anybody who walked into where my inventory is
Right.
they might just see it as stuff. Oh wow, you have a lot of stuff, or you have a lot of bins, but I feel like I have a really good relationship, And I go in and I tweak things and move things around on
Uh-huh.
a regular basis because, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. But it is what's working for me currently. And as I
Right.
continue, I can go in and I can tweak it and change it around. Um, One of the Susie and Chris Dunnard have a listing party that they do once or twice a month,
Right.
and they invited me on to look at my inventory system. And so we talked about that. But what was great is that there were so many people there and they gave me other ideas of what to do with my inventory.
Right.
So that was really great too. That's just bringing in the community part. I get a lot of feedback from other community members when I ask for it,
Right.
and sometimes people just throw out a suggestion and it's something you never thought about before. So that was really great. That was really great. So I feel really good about my business right now and where it's going. It's been a learning curve for sure.
Absolutely. That's, and again, congratulations on your growth. That's very strategically planned, and it shows, beautiful audience. Pam background is a teacher, so she has that mentality of teaching. So I can see it. So I can see how it was a discovery journey for yourself, but also for your business.
Mhm.
Now, I think I heard you saying that you use the summer slowdown to improve maybe your inventory system and your
Mhm.
processes. How is that going for you, Pam?
This summer has been, yeah, I have my 3-year-old granddaughter is visiting currently. So it's been a little bit different. So there's a learning curve there is having to,
Yeah,
manage because we're empty nesters. We have no children left at home. So being able um, to manage on a daily basis and then kind of shift and go, okay, so how do I work this with someone else in the house? Yeah, there's a lot of balance to it. And I asked advice from other people. But this summer, um, we just finished renovating a new house, and so right now, what I'm doing is trying to reorganize and think about my office at the new house and what I want that to look like, and how I'm going to shift the things that are in here
right.
and how to put that in the new place. So this summer is a lot is growth in a different direction. It's trying to move from one space to another and figure out what's important. So I'm prioritizing things,
Right.
um, and and just figuring out how to grow from there. So again, it's a different learning curve.
Right. So we're talking about being balanced. How do you manage now how did you come with that plan? All right. Because it's allowing you to stay organized, but it's also helping you to avoid being overwhelmed and find that balance. How is this journey right now, especially with all these changes, having family visiting you? How is that working for you, Pam?
Um, some days are easier than others. Uh, One thing, as a teacher that
Mm.
I didn't learn soon enough was that what was how to balance is was how to balance home and work. I am a workaholic. I will get in there and I will work and work and work, and I will get up in the morning and work, and I'll work
Right.
all day long, and I will work late into the night. That's me. That's who I am. That's my personality, and it doesn't
Love
matter
what you do, right?
if it's teaching, if it's reselling, whatever
Right.
it is, I'm going to put 110% in it. That's who I am.
Right.
But so I've really had to, and this, doing this has allowed me to step back, spend time with the 3-year-old granddaughter, fly to Nashville, spend time with my daughter and my mom. My mom is 77, 78 years old. And,
Oh,
you know,
family
and
time.
I have an 11-year-old niece. And if I didn't have my business organized and with systems in place, I would not be able to take those breaks. And
Yeah.
I've realized in the last few years really how important it is to have those memories and put those people first.
Right.
Maybe I didn't always realize that when my daughter was young,
Uh-huh.
because it was all about working, and it was really trying to excel and achieve. And really what I've learned is to take a step back, and reselling's allowed me to do that and really focus on my family and those relationships. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not easy. Some days, there are some days when I'm like, oh, I wish I could just shut everything out. I just want to go sit in my office and work, 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 work.
Right.
But work is going to be there, and this pile over here is going to be here. It's going to be here tomorrow, and it's really okay if I
Right.
don't do 50 listings today. Maybe I only do 5. That was in my goals. I said
Yeah.
for the next 2 weeks while my granddaughter is here, maybe I get up 5 listings a day.
Right.
Maybe that's all I do, and that's okay.
That's okay.
eBay's not going away. My
Right.
business is not going away. It's
Right.
summer. It may slow down a little bit, but
Right.
I'm fortunate. I'm in a situation where I'm okay with that.
That's incredible because you plan accordingly. It sounds to me, Pam, that you are very happy reselling,
Mhm.
or you love what you do.
I do. I do. I enjoy it a lot. I've never been like a fashion person. I wasn't someone who sat and just and looked at outfits or
Right.
was always on top of the latest trends. As a teacher, it's all about being comfortable all day long. But
Right.
but I'm having a lot of fun with this. I had no idea that I would have so much fun with it. Looking at trends and figuring out what people like.
Right.
It's been interesting. It's an interesting journey. And as long as I'm interested in what I'm doing,
Right.
then it's okay to stick with it. I don't need to really shift. I have been getting
Yeah.
into vintage a little more just
Ooh,
because the
I love
vintage
vintage.
styles. Well, and it's
Yeah.
80s and 90s that's really
Oh,
trending right now, and that's
love
our
it.
era. That's our
Yes.
era.
Yes.
The 80s and 90s. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it.
the reason I mentioned this beautiful audience is because when you love what you do, okay, it's not a job. It's not that I have to. It's
Mhm.
I enjoy. You can't wait to get started. You go to bed. It's not you're not exhausted. You're tired, no doubt, but you're not burned out actually. So I want to bring that up because sometimes people ask me, hey, I have to work a lot, okay, to fund this perfectly with my reseller income. But it was the most beautiful thing I ever done, to be honest. And that's what I want to share with the audience. When you have a process, when you dig deeper, like Pam did, about inventory is power. It's our money. In having a system that works for you, and trying different systems until you find one that fits you, I think that's a key to successful growth. Congratulations again, Pam. I think that makes me really happy to know that you're enjoying your reseller journey to the max.
Mhm. Oh, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I never thought that I would have my own business, to be able to run my own business, to
Right.
have a successful business. Um, this wasn't necessarily in the cards for me. I was a teacher, and I planned on being a teacher until I retired. And um, that's just not the way it felt. I know the difference between
Uh-huh.
um, burnout. I know burnout. I was burned out. I really,
Oh,
really was. It was because I put so much into it.
right.
And education and teaching is a very difficult place to be
Oh my.
in the last 10
What
years.
a tough job, Pam. What a tough job, I have to
And I
say.
love the children. It's not that I don't love teaching. I miss it
Right.
every single
Oh,
day. But then when I sit and go, is that really what I want to go back and do? Because I could, that's what's great about this. I could scale this back. I could go
Right.
back and teach, and then I could resell part-time.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be that difficult to do.
Right.
But the freedom that I have reselling, that it's a different situation every day. I really, I wouldn't go back into the classroom full time at this point. It would just,
Yeah.
it doesn't excite me the way this does.
Oh, that makes me so happy because we're going to talk about growth. So Pam, you grew approximately 63%.
Yes.
How did you track that and what changed?
Well, okay. So let's talk about List Perfectly for a minute. So, when I signed up with List Perfectly, I was looking to grow. I was listing on Poshmark and Mercari, and it was a lot to list individually on each of those platforms. But I had a little bit, and my inventory was very small, so I could manage that. But when I decided to grow to eBay, I looked around and shopped around and shopped around, and I watched Becky Park. When Becky Park said, "This is what I use," and I went, "Okay, Becky Park's using it. Let me give it a shot." And then I went to the Reseller Remix, and it was the first year, and I met you and Amanda and Teresa and Trish, and I was blown away, number one, by the customer service. I was blown away by the individual attention that I received at the booth. And they showed me how to go from the basic plan to the pro plan. And we sat there and worked on it. And I got on the plane and I flew home and I upgraded and have not looked back because of all of the tools. And here's the thing is that for the first several years, everything that was added to List Perfectly made my life easier.
Oh.
But you know, you kept giving it to us. List Perfectly is a very giving company. They were giving us tools, and I kept waiting. Where's the price increase? Where's the pricing? And there was never a price increase. And I was like, this is great. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. But and here's the thing is that there is no platform that's perfect. There is nothing out there that's perfect. We're dealing with technology. And technology with people, that nothing's perfect. So using List Perfectly not only allowed me to track my inventory because I have notebooks. I don't even know where they are right now. But I had when I first started where I was writing everything down.
Oh no.
I was writing everything down. I was writing down how much I paid for. I mean, it was all handwritten. And I would sit down every night and then I would go through and I would, where things had sold. And so once I had List Perfectly and I could import it all in and it was all there, and then I can track it and I can fill in all the little boxes. And then we add things like, auto delist. And I don't even have to worry about that anymore. So it was so great. And then here's what's really helped me grow in the last year is being the listing assistant.
Oh, yes.
Listing assistant, at first it was just helping me with titles, but now the fact that I can line up those pictures, I can remove whatever backgrounds I want to, and then go, boom, I can press a button and then there's the listing. That has really, that was a game changer for me because I could write my listings faster. If I'm doing it myself, any seconds, shaving seconds off of a process makes a difference.
Absolutely.
So listing assistant really helped me shave time off my process. And so then I could list more. And we all know that if we list more, that we're going to sell more.
In quality
This is a numbers game. So as I list more, I sell more. And so as I increased those listings. I hired a photographer.
Oh my.
So I've done that in the last year, and she is amazing. I've had to go through several, but the one that I have currently is amazing. In fact, she's dropping off some things this morning. She takes it home. She has a 4-year-old son that she stays home with, and so she just does it while he's napping. So,
Oh my.
and I found her using Nextdoor, so a local app. And so
Oh,
she lives locally, and so she'll take some bins home. She
right,
does the thing, and she drops them off. Sometimes I get to see her, sometimes I don't. Sometimes,
right.
I pay her electronically. We're all good. She's fantastic. But that shaved time off. So being able to import those pictures into List Perfectly, we don't have to do anything special. I just upload it. So it's really been it's been a game changer for me to be able to optimize my time. So import the pictures,
Time management.
listing
Yes.
assistant, and then I push it out. So it's just great. It's really allowed me to grow. That I attribute it when people ask me. That's the biggest contributor to my growth, was being able to optimize my time in that way.
Time saving, time saving,
Mhm.
time management, I think is it's key for us resellers, investing in the right tool that will help you save time, because we have to balance listing, sourcing, customer service. How is that going for you, Pam? It seems like you have a very fine-tuned system in order to balance listing, sourcings, and customer service, especially with 6,000 listings. How is that going?
Um, it goes great. Yeah, I live in Florida, so sourcing here is
Oh,
easy. Well, I say where I live in Florida. I live in the Tampa Bay region. I live in St. Petersburg.
uh-huh.
Um, so I have a lot of retirement communities to the south. I live in retirement communities. There's
Right.
you
No,
know
Florida
we
is
are, it's not this is a place of abundance. Um,
yes,
and
absolutely.
so it's so when people ask me about sourcing, I
Uh-huh.
don't have an issue
You're
sourcing.
like,
And
no
I've
problem.
I've built relationships with estate sale companies, so sometimes I don't even
That's
need to
key.
go
There
out.
you go.
They
You
call
build
me.
relationships with the state. And that's one thing that I keep saying to everybody. I have problems sourcing. Build a relationship with the cashier of Goodwill, with the state. Uh, Everybody build a relationship, and you will never have problems sourcing, right?
Yeah, they call me. They'll say, "Hey, I had an estate sale this weekend. Not
Yeah,
everything's sold. Do you wanna come and get it out?" And I can't tell you,
right,
how many times I've paid somebody $50,
right.
and then you 8 and 10 times your money when you're only paying a quarter,
Wow.
basically, for an item, less than a quarter. That's better than going to the bins.
Right. Right.
And you
Absolutely.
and I
Absolutely.
don't have to fight anybody off.
Right, right. I'm curious. So let's say that you're walking right now and having a state sale. Okay,
Mhm,
you're coming here,
mhm.
you don't know me. How do you do the walk me through how do you your intro? What is your pitch in order to build a relationship with a state sale, for example, a company, or maybe a person that is just doing a state sale?
I just go in and start talking to them, and I talk about their sale, and the prices and the types of items. I might ask about the home, or things there. And usually I'm lingering around long enough that where I'm making a pile.
Uh,
And in fact, I was at an estate sale this past weekend,
uh-huh.
and you just start making up. My mom was with me, and
Oh,
the lady turned around to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, is she a reseller?" And my mom was like, "Yeah, she is." They're like, "Oh, great. We were hoping that some resellers would show up because they had really great stuff at this sale." It was a smaller size, and so your average customer isn't looking for the smaller size items. But if a reseller comes in there, if it's a smaller size, I've got a much bigger audience to work with.
absolutely.
So yeah, lots of times they're really glad that I'm there. They want to talk to me. I give them my card. I have my QR code on the back of
There
my
you have
card.
a card with your QR code. That's amazing. Well done, Pam.
So at this point they're calling me. So it's less work on me when you build those relationships. And I tell people, you build relationships at the beginning, you talk to people, you put in the work at the beginning, then later on things fall into place. It makes your life much simpler down the road when you
That's
put in the work first.
absolutely. No, that thank you for sharing, because that's a very common concern, especially with new resellers. How do I get inventory? How do I resolve the issue that they call of sourcing? That's a reason I moved to Arizona, because we have such a retiree
Yeah.
community and it's so abundant. Do I like the 125 degrees on the summer? No. Okay. But it's incredible, especially in summer. Sourcing in summer in Arizona or Florida, for me, was
Mhm.
very, very profitable.
Well, here's what one of the thrift store owners told me. They said,
uh,
people come in are snowbirds. So when snowbirds come in, so the people who come and stay for several months
that's
from
right.
the colder states, so they come in at the beginning of the season and they buy up a lot of things in the thrift stores. They're buying, they're shopping, and then they don't want to take it back home, so they redonate it.
Yep.
So if you go into thrift stores right now,
Uh-huh.
or you hit yard sale, any place around here, they have an abundance of things because people donate those things. It's so much more affordable if whether you're moving at this point, if you move, it's
Yeah.
easier to just move and then buy stuff there rather
Right.
than ship your items, because shipping is pretty outrageous to move. If you,
Yes.
I had a friend that just moved, and it was just an outrageous amount of cost
Yeah.
to move her inventory and to move her furniture. And
Yeah.
it shouldn't have been that bad. It would have been cheaper to just let it go here and start over somewhere else.
Yep, that's a very common. Yeah, I feel you. I have to move from California to Arizona, and it was expensive.
Mhm.
Expensive. And at that time, I moved 3,000. We had like 3,000 listings, items that I have to move, and it was very expensive. And we have to do it ourselves. It was impossible to do it with a company. So yeah, sometimes it's just better to start all over
Mhm.
and take advantage of the resources where you're moving. That's incredible, Pam. But I want to get you now into community,
Okay.
because you mentioned a little that you joined mastermind sessions, Pam. In the, you have 6,000 listings, you have made time for your family, but however, you are a very loyal attendee in mastermind. Um, how is that for you working, being active in mastermind and showing up for others? How is that working for you?
Well, the first thing it does is it gives me a schedule. It gives me something to start my day with each day.
Right.
So, when if you aren't going into an office every day, if you don't have a certain start time, it would be really easy to start your day as a reseller. Maybe you don't start till noon or 1 o'clock, and then your day gets away from you. So this gives me a focal point every morning. So I live in Florida. I'm on the Eastern time.
Right.
So I start with Mastermind at 9 a.m. That's how my day starts.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh,
I
okay,
get up, I
okay.
walk the dogs, I make my coffee, and then I sit down with Mastermind at 9 a.m. And so while I'm watching Mastermind, that's when I print my labels. Or but there's when listing party, when you guys announced listing party at Boss back several I guess that was the second Boss. I think it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
um I was really excited because that's what I was missing from teaching. When you're a teacher, you have
yeah.
other teachers on your hallway, you have a community, you have people to bounce ideas off of,
Right.
or at least I did. That was the way I taught. I
Yeah.
taught where I would watch other teachers. I looked for mentors. I was a mentor. I
Right.
liked helping others. That was the way that I taught. And so that was missing from my life as a reseller. I was missing having someone to talk with on a regular basis. So when listing party was announced and Mastermind and I guess it was always called Mastermind. I have no idea how it even started. All I know is that Trish was running this group at 9 a.m. and it
Right.
was going to be daily Monday through Friday, and it was just
Uh-huh.
kind of a jumping point.
Wow.
So I started turning it on. Lots of times my camera was off. I didn't say a word, especially in those at the beginning. I
Yep.
just listened. I
Right.
just listened, and you listen to how other people were building their businesses.
Right.
You listen to um, what other people were struggling with, and you go, "Oh, sometimes I struggle with that too."
Right.
Or a shipping situation, or a problem at the post office. There are so many different things that you do on a daily basis, and hearing that someone else is having the same struggles,
Yeah.
um, that helps. That gives you confidence and helps you with going, oh, there's somebody else out there that's just like me.
Yep.
Somebody else is struggling with it, so you can
That's right.
identify with that and realize that you're really not alone.
Yep.
Um,
And that was the reason we built that, to be honest, Pam, because with Amanda, back in the day, 17 years ago, when we were reselling with Amanda, there was no reseller community.
mhm,
We were not allowed to ask, hey, where should I ship? Remember, if it was
right,
on eBay, they would take down the post and everything. So it was challenging. And I remember that with Amanda, we're like, you can have the best software in the world, that if you don't foster a community spirit within what the services that you're offering, it's going to be a hard journey, harder
mhm,
to grow. So what, and we're like, okay, perfect, what is going to expedite growth and help, because we all have bad days in sales, right?
sure,
You're not selling anything, you get returns, then you get a customer complaint, so it's hard. And I think that for us, for Amanda, when we created Listing Party, was crucial, because we wanted to help you guys to not feel so alone, because sometimes being a sole entrepreneur, or even if you're in a partnership like me and Amanda, when we were reselling with the clothing vault, it was lonely, Pam. It was
mhm.
lonely. And like you said, you don't even have to show the camera, right? You don't even have to show it. You can be silent and listening, and just gives you that I'm not alone, like you said.
Well, and with the 24-hour room, and then there's a later mastermind, there's parties all the time, but even to go into that 24-hour room, I know that there are people in there all the time, even late at night. So if you're a late at night lister, you can go
Yes.
in there and even leave your camera off and just listen to the conversation, or
Yep.
just to know that someone else is in there. We
Right.
are really we're really struggling with mental health in this country,
Yes.
and
Yes.
probably all over the world, but I know
All over the world.
specifically in the
Yeah.
United States, that's the isolation that we felt during the lockdown, I
Yeah.
think really drove that home, that people are isolated. When we're on these devices, we are continuing to isolate ourselves. And
Yep.
so whether it's in person or having someone else on the screen, I think is really it's important to know that other people are out there and that you're not alone.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. What would you say? What advice would you give to someone? You mentioned that sometimes you were there with camera off, microphone off,
Mhm.
which is perfectly fine. But what would you say to those people that maybe are with the camera off and audio off? They want to ask us something, but they're insecure, afraid, or anything like that.
Oh, we have a chat. That chat is going constantly. And so there are people, I know there are people in the last few weeks, there have been people who said, "Hi, it's my first time here."
Right.
Um, and they'll either ask a question, or they just want to say, "Hi, it's my first time here. I've really learned a lot today," just
Uh-huh.
to let us know that they were there. And let me tell you, the people that jump in and say hi and welcome, there's all sorts of people that jump in and say welcome, 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 welcome. It is certainly the most welcoming group.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and here's the thing is that we're all from different places, and we all come from different situations. But it's one of those things, we talk about that all the time, how the world is so polarized right now. It
Yeah.
feels very polarized, but
Yeah.
it's the one place we don't talk about politics. It's
Yeah.
not, we don't do a political discussion because we're not going to. That's not who we are. We're focusing on what we all have in common and how we can continue to grow.
Yeah.
It's a community. It's
Right.
not everybody's on one side or another. It's that we're all going through this and we're all trying to grow businesses and we're all
Right.
moving forward. And that we
Right.
all don't, yes, we're all from different backgrounds, but we don't all have to agree on everything. We can continue to move forward and be a community and grow and enjoy each other at the same time. It's it's definitely something that has changed my reselling experience.
Oh, thank you, Pan, for that thorough answer. I really appreciate it because I want you to join us on listing parties so you can streamline and accelerate your growth in the direction that every seller wants. And that's a nice thing, that you hear tips and you can apply it or not, but at least you are hearing what's going on in the community, what different approaches are to the reselling process. And that's key for growth.
Well, and here's the thing is that a lot of the things that I've learned about my business,
Right.
especially about my eBay metrics or just about business in general, I've learned from attending Mastermind. I was really struggling um, with eBay, with people marking items not as described, and I was
Right.
really having a hard time with that. It wasn't that they were all on ads, but that's what people were marking just so and sending items back.
Right.
And then I realized, and so by doing that, we could have a discussion in the group, not only about what that was, but how that affected my eBay and the percentage that eBay was taking. Because all of a sudden I'm looking at these fees
Right.
and going, why are my fees so high?
Uh-huh.
And it was because my
Uh-huh.
ads had gotten out of control because I wasn't focusing on my metrics.
Mm.
Didn't realize that. And so talking about that in the group, so even talking about things that were maybe were flawed about
Right.
my business,
Right.
other people could share their experiences. So then I could start applying different things and tweaking my business to the point where I don't have that extra fee anymore, where I
Right.
do have my rating back up,
Yeah.
uh, and can make more money, which is really the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
I
Profit.
can make more money. I can put more in my pocket and give less to eBay.
Right. Right. Right.
As much
Right.
as I love
Strategic.
eBay, I don't want to give them that much money.
Yeah, we love eBay. We love you, but hey, we love, but the fees, you have to be careful. This is I love your store, Pam. This is very nice. Really nice. You have a very nice, wide variety of items that you have listed. I love it. Well done, Pam.
Thank you. Thank you. I
So I
appreciate that.
no, please, and I want to share real quick, okay?
Mhm.
Those of you that want to share her journey, we can see here. Let me see, where are you? I want to put here Restated Threads. Um, let's see. Here we go. So this is your profile on Instagram, but you can see you have listings, you have maybe some LP tips here. I really appreciate it. That's
Oh,
incredible.
that was such a surprise to have that just popped up one morning, and I'm like, "Whoa, let's play with this." Because Poshmark really just kind of threw us all for a loop with the delisting and relisting, and so the whole reselling world is going crazy. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden there's this, and I was like, "Ah."
Stale listings detector to the rescue. No, thank you so much. This is incredible. Now, the filters, I think it's one of the things, and it's important. One of the things that we always say is stay compliant and not having issues, because we know, I'm going to share right now your Poshmark closet, but it's crucial. I was just looking at your Poshmark closet as well. You know, it looks beautiful, Pam. Look at this, okay? 8,243 listings, okay? Just saying, okay? And check, it's just beautiful, Pam. It's just incredible. What a great job you have done diversifying yourself in different platforms and streamlining your reselling processes. This is, I give you congratulations. Yes, I can provide the software, Pam, but you are really taking advantage of every feature we offer, and that's crucial in order to maximize the benefits that LP is giving you. Wow. I want to ask you now, we established, you know, your success with inventory, what you've done in a year. Now let's talk about the future, Pam. Tell me, where do you see Restated Threads in the next year?
Okay, well, I'm going to put this out there, because if I don't put it out there, then it would be really easy for me to hide. So one of the things that that I think about a lot is how much I would have appreciated knowing about reselling when I was a young single mom, being
Oh,
a teacher on my teacher salary,
oh,
and that struggle. I didn't know about reselling. I
right.
knew eBay existed, but it never connected with me that I could go and pick something up and then list it on eBay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so one of the things that I want to figure out is how to use my knowledge and what I know and share that with, either young single moms,
Oh,
or maybe in a domestic violence shelter. Those are all causes that are really dear to me.
mm-hmm.
Is people who are trying to figure their way out of a difficult situation.
Oh,
Um,
Pam,
because
that's,
because money is power. Money is power.
yep,
And so being able to have a say in how you earn that money, and being able to um, empower yourself
right.
is important. It's important. It's a way out. It's a venue out. So I have a friend who works with a domestic violence shelter in Nashville, and so I was talking with her about it. So that's
Mm,
one way that I want to grow. It's not necessarily growing my business, but I
right,
think it will grow me,
right.
myself. I feel it's important to give back to communities.
Yeah,
Um, so that's one way that I want to branch out. That's one way that Restated Threads is going to grow this year. In addition to adding to my business, I need to add more people,
right.
because, like I said, listings are money. So in order to be able to put up more listings, I can't grow more time. I can't make more time. So I have to figure out a different way how to utilize that time. So I have the photographer, and so now I need people to help me list. So
No,
that's where we're headed.
yes, and absolutely. So
Probably hire if I could find a second photographer, that would probably
ah,
do me well. So that's
that,
where we're headed. So
I
I'm
love
looking at my
that.
numbers right now, and maybe that's where we go this fall, is starting to either add another photographer,
Right.
but I really think I need to add a VA, somebody to help me with the listings.
Absolutely, listing management, especially if you're going to be allocating that time for that purpose. And you have my
Right.
support. Okay, we'll talk about it. This is going to be a good segue for next year when we do
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
touch base, because I wanna give you my full support with List Perfectly for this incredible cause that you have. So you're not alone.
I
We'll
feel
do this.
very called to do that, and I can't tell you, it
I
just
can
it
tell.
keeps popping up in my life. So that's where I think that's where I want to go. That's how I want to give back.
You have my full support, Pam. We'll be talking about this as soon as we finish the session and see
Sure.
how LP will support you, and then we'll do a nice segue next year for this incredible purpose and mission you have for this for the next year. Now, before we wrap it up, I wanna. There is a very frequent question, Pam, that
Mhm.
I get asked. Okay, how do you stay motivated on the hard days, Pam?
I think about um, I think about the goals. I think about the journey, about where I'm headed. It's not always about for a while it was about, oh, I need to get to six figures or I need to accumulate wealth. It's really about the journey I want to be on.
Mm,
So I'll be 55 this year. I'm 54
yeah.
and I'm reaching that age where I go, it's not so much about accumulating things, but
Uh,
accumulating memories. What kind
uh,
of memories and what kind of legacy do I want to live?
right.
Um, I've got this daughter and a granddaughter, and what are the things that I want them to remember me for? How do I want to be
Oh,
remembered?
oh, that's powerful, Pam.
Was it that Mimi was at work all the time? Mimi worked all the time, or Mimi was moving bins all the time? Or
Uh,
was it that, boy, look at all the things that Mimi and I got to do?
right.
We go to the beach or playing in the water, or my Mimi plays with me.
Right.
That's how I want to be remembered when she gets older, whether I'm here or not.
Right.
I want her to have that. So really it's all about legacy at this point. It's about who do I want to be? So that's my motivation is, there are days when the camera stays off. There are days when I'm just slumped over. I'm wearing sweats. I don't care what my hair looks like. The dogs are might not get such a long walk, but
Okay. Okay.
but it's all going to be okay. I just, between Mastermind,
Right.
I've got that going for me on a daily basis. But even on the weekends, it's thinking about what my goals are,
Yeah.
and how I want to continue to move forward. I mean, that was kind of a convoluted answer, but yeah, to stay motivated, I look at my community, the people that I surround myself with, whether it's online or offline. That's what motivates me.
Oh, that's such a, I think it wasn't convoluted. I think it was a very, very thoughtful and deep answer that you gave me because it's hard to answer, and it's different answer for all of us. But I
Sure.
think that staying focused where your goal is, okay, looking at the future, that's a great way to stay motivated in the going, be able to afford those, being able to go through those hurdles that
Mhm.
sometimes life will always send us obstacles. So you can see it as an obstacle or you can see it as something that will help you grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you, Pam, for your time. I want to thank you for this incredible session. And I thank you for your support in most of everything, how much you help the community, because your teaching background certainly, reaches many people in our community. So all of you, you're welcome to connect with Pam. She's on Listing
Mhm.
Party every morning on Mastermind. You're welcome to ask her questions. You can reach out to Instagram, but mainly Pam is on Mastermind in the Listing Party.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate Pam. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you everybody for watching. Hit a
Right.
like.
Thank you, Clara, so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the List Perfectly community. I appreciate all of yours and Amanda's hard work at what you put into this platform, because it's more than a business. It's more than a business, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful words, Pam. Thank you everybody for watching. Hit the thumbs like, okay?